Hello YouTube, and welcome to another Elder Scrolls lore video. Today we're talking about one of the Elder Scrolls Blade's main antagonists, the River Snake. Unfortunately, this questline isn't fully finished yet, something that I didn't realize when I started working on this video several months ago now. But since it's now been over a year since the addition of its character, and the latest update only added some event matches, I'm quite sure that this questline won't be finished anytime soon, seeing as the game only got updates every once in a while, and that's quite rare. So if this questline gets finished, I'll soon might make another part 2. And that said, let's just now talk about the story that we do have now, which I had to do a lot of grinding for, so yeah, enjoy. Before we begin, quickly, this video contains major spoilers for the Elder Scrolls Blades as I cover the lore of the game so that you don't have to play it, since the gameplay really isn't all too fun and very grindy. I don't think that many people will care, as almost nobody plays this game, but if you still want to play this game, be warned, this video will be full of spoilers. Before the Great War started, the small Imperial vassal kingdom in which the Elder Scrolls Blades takes place was ruled by an old orc king named Durak Bazul, who was named the Bloodfall king. His kingdom, a small realm somewhere near the Cyrodiil's southern or eastern borders, had become known as the Bloodfall Kingdom and was relatively peaceful. This small kingdom had been given autonomous vassal status within the Empire, ruling itself domestically, but officially still being part of the Empire. Imperial magistrates and envoys would sometimes make their way to the kingdom to help the king sort his business, but generally the Empire left the vassal kingdom alone. That is, until the Great War broke out. When the war started, it started with nearly all of Cyrodiil being mobilized. Local rulers were summoned to bring all their men to fight in the war, and so was King Durak, who took most of his men with him to fight in the war. He left his son, Bazul in charge of the kingdom as his regent when he left. His son was a fierce warrior and had been groomed to take the throne since birth, but his impulsive and warrior-like nature made it so that he wasn't a very good ruler, as he was very frustrated about not being able to fight in the war and get glory like his father. And his frustration translated directly into severe mismanagement, corruption and eventual paranoia on his end. Summary executions became commonplace in the kingdom, and the people were terrified of their leader, as one could be killed for even petty crimes according to Junius the Elder. For almost 4 years his reign of terror swooped through the kingdom, and his power was absolute. He reigned in fear. But his father Durak, the king, returned after the war, and he was furious. He disinherited Bazul and named his granddaughter, Bazul's daughter, his successor. This extreme humiliation fed Bazul's paranoia and wounded his pride, as suddenly his daughter, named Urzoga, had become his rival and superior. This rivalry led to Bazul apparently trying to kill his own daughter, leading him to be banished from the kingdom by his father. Not much longer after this, King Durak died, and this made it so that the way was free for his granddaughter, Urzoga Grabatul, to take the throne and become the Bloodfall Queen. But in the early days of her reign, her banished father apparently attempted a coup. He failed, and Queen Urzoga came to rule the realm as the Bloodfall Queen. But that did not stop her disinherited father, as in the subsequent years he tried to assassinate her at least once, and did a lot of things to make her reign more difficult, such as employ bandits to harass her realm. All of this and more problems made it so that the Bloodfall Queen was forced to nearly bleed her kingdom dry with taxes in order to keep the realm safe by hiring mercenaries, as most of her soldiers died in the war. This would eventually lead into the Town Fire, which sparks the beginning of the Elder Scrolls Blades main questline, which I have also covered in another video, which is now in the description. Anyway, by the time of the Elder Scrolls Blades' playtime, give or take the year 180 of the 4th era, Bazul's schemes seem to have died out. The kingdom had a severe bandit problem in the form of the Greencap bandits, but those problems didn't really seem to be directly linked to the Queen's banished father, and slowly but steadily the region started to regain stability. But then, seemingly unrelated to the realm's previous issues, another problem started to form. But this time it did not just hit the kingdom, but it hit almost the entire region of Cyrodiil that the kingdom was in, as the Imperial authorities started to take note. It was around the year 180, perhaps a bit earlier, maybe 1 or 2 years earlier, when a notorious bandit leader started to make rounds in the region. He called himself the River Snake, and calling him simply bandit leader would be an understatement. His bandit syndicate did everything from plundering Imperial supply lines to smuggling illegal wares such as skooma. According to the description of the river snake banner item in the game, he kept slipping through the Imperial's fingers and fought with his own special battle axe called the Headman's Cleaver, cutting up the Imperial authorities personally at times when they came too close. As the player, you first hear of the river snake when a treasure hunter and sorceress named Gabrielle LaRouche comes to your town. She sets you on a treasure hunt that she's been on, and you help her in exchange for the share in the treasure and for her to teach your local town conjurer Sabina a few things. When you return from one of the possible locations that Gabrielle thinks the treasure might have been hidden, you find a man in your town named Frontinius. His brother has been murdered in cold blood, and he asks you and the Queen to investigate the murder and perhaps get wrath for his brother. The Queen then puts you on the investigation, and after your investigation it turns out that his brother was killed by a man working for a criminal calling himself the River Snake. You start to investigate and find out that this River Snake has a lot of men in his employ, leading to an investigation into his character by you and the Queen. The investigation takes you through several bandit hideouts, and you are nearly able to intercept a shipment by the River Snake's men. However, you are too late, as you are being distracted by the men on the docks leading the ship to sail away. When you return to your town, you're once more out of leads and you decide to go on Gabrielle's treasure hunt again. This treasure hunt then once more leads nowhere, but when you return to the village, the Queen is now there and she orders you to continue your investigation into the River Snake. This investigation leads nowhere again, and you only found more dead people. But in the meantime, when you return to your village, you find out that the Queen is gone with Gabrielle in order to find the treasure that she's been looking for. The Queen, hoping to get part of the treasure for the kingdom, has gone with her. But your town sorcerer, Sabina, has started to suspect that Gabrielle might have some ulterior motives, as she's been training with Gabrielle for a few weeks now, and Gabrielle has been acting a bit strange, so together you decide to follow Gabrielle and the Queen. You follow them deep into an underground dungeon, and as it turns out, Sabina was right, as Gabrielle was working for the River Snake, and had been deployed to your town in order to lead the Queen there and lure her with her with the promise of treasure. And then, the big reveal comes, as it turns out to no one's surprise who's watching this video, that the River Snake is in fact the Queen's banished father Bazul. He attempts to kill you, but you defeat his minions, including Gabrielle, and manage to free several prisoners, including the Queen and her aide Wanum, but the River Snake escaped in the commotion. With his criminal empire brought down by you and his funds depleted, he's now less dangerous, but he's still out there, somewhere, and new quests in the Elder Scrolls Blades might reveal his ultimate fate. It's most likely that he'll be going after the treasure that you've been searching for with Gabrielle before, because in his final moments before he flees, he actually reveals to the Queen that the treasure is in fact real and is in fact a whole weapon stash that he plans to use to conquer the region. Now, whether he can still do that after you've taken down his minions, we don't know, but I'm looking forward to see what the River Snake's future will be. But, you know, to be honest, this was a pretty fun questline. There was a lot of grinding to unlock the missions and everything looked very generic, of course, like basically everything in the Elder Scrolls Blades. But I honestly hadn't made the connection between the Queen's father and the River Snake. I had no idea who the River Snake was, other than I kinda knew that it had to be someone we already heard of, because they kept not saying who it was, and then, you know, they're building up to a reveal, but that's only impactful when you already know who it is, so I started to suspect this guy for some time, which is Wanum, who's like the Queen's loyal aide and helps you in several missions. I suspected him because when he's with you during the questline, you suddenly miss the River Snake shipment in the harbor. I was like, okay, that's probably because of you. But it turns out that the River Snake was the Queen's father, which was a fun reveal, in my opinion, and it's definitely one of the better questlines in the Elder Scrolls Blades. The questlines are getting slightly better that they are putting in there. Not good, but a bit better. So yeah, it was a pretty fun questline, even though it wasn't fun to play at all, because it requires a shit ton of grinding. But at least it's a fun story, and I hope that you guys liked it as well. And I'm mostly kind of curious to see where the River Snake story will be headed next, like what will he do next. That said, thank you all for watching today's video, and I hope that you learned something. If you did, consider returning for the next Elder Scrolls lore video, which should be here within a week or so. Before I end this, allow me to vocally thank my top patrons, Mr. Bernardo Binda, Gabriel Binda, Metroid1v1, Mr. Christmas, Mr. Para, and Hammer of the Scots. These dear people, along with all the others on screen, make my lore videos possible, and for that I'm very grateful. That said, I'm currently on holiday, so I'm sorry if this list is not accurate, as this video has been pre-recorded in the days before I went on holiday. So yeah, I'll see you all in the next lore video. Well, actually, I won't see you in the next lore video. I'll see you in the lore video probably 2 weeks from now. See ya.